On January 20th next year, Donald Trump, the U.S. president-elect, will hold his inauguration in Washington, D.C. The guest list, especially international attendees, has sparked public curiosity. It's surprising that Trump's transition team confirmed he invited Chinese leader Xi Jinping, yet Beijing has not responded. Traditionally, U.S. presidential inaugurations invite foreign diplomats like ambassadors, not heads of state. The U.S. State Department records from 1874 indicate no foreign leaders has attended such an event. Analysts suggest Trump's invitation to Xi is a bold move to break tradition, implying it's a calculated strategy rather than a spur-of-the-moment decision. The decision has puzzled many, with some arguing against inviting an authoritarian leader to such a pivotal American event. Popular online commentators have shared their takes, analyzing the hidden motives behind Trump's high-profile invitation to Xi. Fox News anchor Jesse Waters commented on air that Trump's invitation to Xi Jinping for his inauguration is a strategic move intended to put Xi in a difficult spot. He explained, "If he declines, it's disrespectful and Trump will take it personally. And if he accepts, he'll be forced to observe President Trump at his most powerful moment with all the presidential pageantry American can muster. You put Xi Jinping in a subservient position, plus you can spy on him the whole time he's in D.C. Political commentator Tang Jinyuan said Trump may be using this moment to send a message to the international community. He said, "The U.S.-led world order will not change, and the current international system will remain as it is. As long as Trump is here, no one can alter it." This is likely a deliberate signal to Xi because Xi is the only leader currently trying to challenge that order. Commentator Zhang Feng called the news shocking, suggesting Trump has put Xi in a difficult position. Zhang said on his media channel, Trump's cabinet picks are all hawkish on China, which puts Xi in a tough spot. This could explain Beijing's silence. The question is, will he attend or not? Since Trump's election, Xi has stated that cooperation benefits both sides, while confrontation harms both. Trump, on the other hand, has told the media that he has spoken with Xi several times, suggesting a willingness to communicate. With Trump's invitation now on the table, Xi might be concerned about the potential fallout. Accepting could lead to Trump imposing new sanctions or tariffs on China, which would be embarrassing for Xi back in Beijing. Such an outcome could be perceived as one of the most significant slights Xi has ever faced. The stakes might be too high for Xi to take that chance. Rory Daniels, director at the Asia Society Policy Institute, believes Xi will not attend but noted that Trump's invitation is an interesting start. Daniels explained on social media that both leaders need to meet early to set the tone for the next 4 years of bilateral relations. However, Beijing would likely prefer a controlled, results-driven meeting, which the inauguration does not provide. Daniels suggested Xi might send a special envoy or deliver a gift or letter to show respect. Some speculate that Trump's invitation could be a trap designed to diminish Xi's stature. By standing beside Trump during the Make America Great Again celebration, Xi could risk embarrassment on the world stage. Regardless of the reason, Xi's attendance at Trump's inauguration could lead to awkward situations and potentially damage his international image. During his campaign, Trump promised that once he takes office in January, he will impose an additional 10% tariff on Chinese goods unless Beijing does more to stop the trafficking of fentanyl. He also threatened to impose tariffs of over 60% on Chinese products. Recently, however, Trump told the media that he has a good relationship with Chinese leader Xi Jinping and that they had just spoken by phone. This has raised questions about Trump's strategy and the true meaning behind his remarks. In the past, Trump has repeatedly referred to Xi as a close friend. He has also described North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and Russian President Vladimir Putin as friends. In response to this, Professor Sun Guoshang at South China University's Asia-Pacific Institute believes this reflects Trump's personal diplomatic style. Sun said Trump wants to show he can resolve international disputes and achieve diplomatic breakthroughs by fostering personal relationships with other leaders. Professor Sun noted that Trump often uses direct and personalized language to simplify complex diplomatic issues. This approach reflects Trump's business background and pragmatic attitude, rather than a focus on international frameworks or multilateralism. Sun added that Trump's negotiation tactics with China remain unclear. He commented, "Not even Xi Jinping knows Trump's bottom line in these talks. No one does. But Trump has made it clear he's willing to negotiate." Some analysts also suggest that if Trump breaks with tradition and offers Xi this honor, Xi might seize the opportunity to gain the upper hand and maximize China's strategic interests. Today's China is not the same as when Trump first took office. The economy is declining, businesses are closing, capital is fleeing, public dissatisfaction is rising, and even the military's loyalty is questionable. Analysts suggest that Xi may see this as a rare chance to rebuild personal ties with Trump and break the deadlock in U.S.-China relations. The belief that fortune favors the bold may drive Xi to make the trip to Washington. Facing internal and external pressures, Xi may place his last hope on Trump, but Xi is already familiar with Trump's personality. In April 2017, less than 3 months after Trump first took office, Xi broke protocol and visited Trump at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida. Xi's humility during the meeting surprised many.
According to Trump, while sharing dessert with Xi, he ordered missile strikes on Syria's Homs air base to sanction Syria for using chemical weapons.
Trump claimed Xi was silent for 10 seconds, and after hearing about the 59 missiles, then responded, "That's okay." Since establishing diplomatic ties in 1956, Syria has been one of China's closest allies. Even as the Assad regime faced international sanctions, Beijing continued to support it.
For Chinese nationalists, Trump bombing Syria during his meeting with Xi was seen as humiliating.
Interestingly, by the time Trump invited Xi again, Assad regime was collapsing. The Chinese government has long sought the highest level of state visits from the U.S., a point of pride for Beijing. Successive Chinese leaders, from Jiang Zemin to Hu Jintao and Xi Jinping, have desired red carpet welcomes, military honors, a 21-gun salute, and lavish White House banquets. This ceremonial recognition is seen as enhancing their standing within the Communist Party. It signals that even the U.S. president acknowledges their status. However, the U.S. typically reserves such honors for allies or democratic leaders, avoiding similar treatment for authoritarian heads of state. Since George W. Bush, the U.S. has opted for informal meetings with Chinese leaders at private estates. This practice continued under Obama, Trump, and Biden. Yet this time, Trump made an unprecedented move by inviting Xi to attend his presidential inauguration. A political commentator based in the U.S., Chen Pengkong, said the invitation puts Xi in a difficult position. Chen remarked, "Trump has extended the highest courtesy to Xi. If Xi refuses, that's on him." Another theory about Trump's motives comes from Nikkei Asia senior writer Kenji Nakazawa. Nakazawa suggested that Trump's invitation followed consultations with French President Emmanuel Macron and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Trump may be reaching out to Xi to leverage Beijing's influence over Russia and help end the war in Ukraine. During his campaign, Trump pledged to end the Russia-Ukraine war within a day if re-elected and expressed his intention to reduce aid to Ukraine. With Russian President Vladimir Putin proving difficult to engage, Trump may see Xi as a key intermediary to bring the conflict to an end. At the same time that Trump extended his invitation to Xi Jinping, Xi met with former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev in Beijing. Medvedev holds multiple roles. He is the chairman of Russia's ruling United Russia Party, the current deputy chairman of Russia's Security Council, and a trusted ally and aide to Putin. During the visit, Medvedev personally delivered a handwritten letter from Putin to Xi. Chinese state media reported that Xi emphasized the need to prevent the escalation of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. In February 2022, just before Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Putin visited Beijing for a meeting with Xi. At that time, Xi declared that the China-Russia partnership had no limits, signaling his support for Putin. This gave Putin confidence to proceed with the invasion. After Russia invaded Ukraine, China emphasized the importance of respecting Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity, but consistently avoided openly condemning Russia. China has provided significant non-military aid to Russia and supported its military-industrial complex and war efforts through bilateral trade. Moreover, Chinese leader Xi Jinping has a close personal relationship with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The two have met more than 40 times, more frequently than either has met with any other leader. Meanwhile, China continues to strengthen military cooperation with Russia, conducting joint military patrols near Japan and approaching U.S. borders. Chinese forces have also held large-scale drills near Taiwan, raising regional tensions. Over the past 2 years, China has put forward several peace proposals to resolve what Beijing calls the Ukraine crisis, but these initiatives have been seen as lacking substance and meaningful content. Andrew Scoble, a distinguished fellow at the U.S. Institute of Peace's China program, told Voice of America that China is seen as pro-Russian neutrality. In other words, China claims to be neutral in this conflict, but in reality, they clearly support Russia. Now, with Trump extending an olive branch, Xi Jinping faces a tough decision. He has managed to withstand 4 years of pressure from the Biden administration, but seems less capable of dealing with Trump. Xi is hesitant to publicly oppose his old friend Trump and even hopes Trump can help ease some of his difficulties. Xi needs to gain Trump's trust without alienating Putin or arousing his suspicion. Trump has invited Xi, but due to international arrest warrants and charges against Trump, Trump will not invite the Russian president. If Xi accepts Trump's invitation, the world may interpret it as the US and China joining forces against Russia. While aligning with China to counter Russia is not part of the US's strategy, the situation leaves Xi Jinping in a difficult position. Some analysts argue that China, given its close ties with Moscow, could play a pivotal role in ending the war in Ukraine. However, the real question is whether Beijing is willing to take on such a responsibility. Chinese experts believe Trump aims to weaken the unprecedented closeness between Russia and China. Yuan Peng, vice president of the China Institute of Contemporary International Relations, remarked that improved U.S.-Russia relations would not necessarily harm China-Russia ties. He also pointed out that the U.S. and Russia have minimal economic interdependence. Even if their relations improve, Russia will still rely heavily on China economically. Following his election victory, Trump appointed several hawkish figures to key roles in his administration. Reports indicate that Beijing has repeatedly attempted and failed to establish contact with these individuals, leaving Chinese officials uncertain about Trump's intentions. The Financial Times quoted Evan Medeiros, former senior director for Asia at the White House National Security Council, as saying that Trump's win has left Beijing scrambling. Medeiros, now a professor at Georgetown University, revealed that Chinese ambassador Xie Feng had met with him before the election. According to Medeiros, Chinese embassy officials in Washington and New York are now desperately seeking ways to connect with Trump's inner circle. Their strategy focuses on persuading business leaders close to Trump to advocate for a softer approach towards Beijing. Earlier this year, Beijing tasked former ambassador Cui Tiankai with rebuilding ties with Trump's team, but those efforts reportedly saw little success. Foreign ambassadors in Washington, including those from China, are working to engage with individuals likely to join Trump's administration. However, Beijing faces significant challenges. With Washington's stance on China growing increasingly hostile, many Republicans have been unwilling to interact with Chinese officials in recent years. A Beijing source with ties to the Chinese government mentioned that Beijing hopes to strike a deal with Trump. However, they admitted that the core problem lies in Beijing's inability to discern Trump's objectives or identify the right individuals to facilitate communication. The Asia Society's Center for China Analysis recently published a report titled China 2025, which highlights the coming year as a critical test for Beijing's resilience and adaptability. The report suggests that how China navigates the challenges of 2025 will shape its trajectory for years to come. Domestically, economic stagnation and rising unemployment have fueled widespread frustration and anger. Feelings of inequality, social pressure, and disillusionment are increasing among the population. On the international stage, Trump's new administration is expected to adopt tougher trade and diplomatic stances, exacerbating uncertainty in U.S.-China relations. Widening diplomatic differences, trade barriers, and technological disputes are likely to create deadlocks over sensitive issues. Trump's unconventional and independent approach has always set him apart. With a decisive electoral victory, broad voter support, and Republican control over Congress, he may disregard controversy and break diplomatic norms from the outset. Even before Trump's inauguration, U.S.-China relations have taken an unusual turn. Over the next 4 years, these relations are unlikely to remain calm. Instead, they may oscillate between open conflicts and hidden struggles, with waves of tension punctuated by unexpected dramatic twists.